Hey there, David from iOS Dev School here, and in this tutorial we are going to build a COVID statistics application, and we're going to use the latest Xcode and iOS 15 for that. Right now I'm running iOS 15.2 as you can see on my simulator here. So we're going to use statistics from an API which is provided. It's one of the APIs you can find on rapidapi.com. It's free of charge as of recording, and you just have to register and get your key in order to be able to access the API. But other than that, everything is for free. So here on the right side on my screen, I have the final application running on an iPhone 13 Pro Max. And as you can see, we have a top area which shows the world statistics, current confirmed, active death, and death ratio. And underneath we have a list of all countries. You can scroll. If I'm not mistaken, all the countries are available here. And by clicking on any of the country, it would take you to a different view which shows the statistics of that specific country. Now, we also have a search option which opens a bar here, and then you can search. Now, depending from the country, if we are talking about a big country, for example, if I search for US and choose the US, instead of showing the statistics of that country, we see all the states in US, and then you can choose the state that you want, and then you will see the data of that state. This is true for some countries that are big. You can choose the Russia and will show all the republics in Russia, or you can go for Canada and you will see all the provinces in Canada. So this is how it works in case if the provided country has any parts of it can be republics, states, or provinces, or other parts of the country. You will see another list view that you can choose which part of the country you want to see, and finally you will see the actual data provided by the API. So the search, simply click and hide the search bar, and this is how it Command Shift A to change it to the white light mode and dark mode, and you will see how the application actually looks in the white. All right, without any further ado, let's jump to our rapidapi.com, and if you don't have an account yet, go ahead and register. Once you have done, you will come here to search and just search for COVID. And we're going to use this first one that appears on mine. It says COVID-19 statistics. Just click on that. And if this is the first time you are using this API, which most probably is, before you can click on test endpoint, maybe you will have to subscribe to this API. But as it is free, it's just one click away. Since I am already subscribed to it, I can test the endpoint. So on the left side here, you can see what the API provides, and all the four things API provides is get requests only, so you cannot send your data to the API. We are interested in 3 out of 4 things. The first one is the total report. So if I click on that, and there are some parameters here we can choose from. And the only optional parameter is the date. So you can choose the data, the date of the data if you want, or by removing that, you will see the current date. So if I click test endpoint, it will show me a JSON sample of the data that our API returns. So if I close the tree here, you can see that the JSON returns an object data, and that data is content of all these parameters. So we have the date, which is a string, and it shows the current date. Last date, this is the last updated date, so you can use this one if you want to. The number of confirmed cases, this confirmed difference, if I'm not mistaken, is the active and confirmed cases. Number of death, death difference, recovered rate. This I think is just no data there, that's why it shows 0. The active cases, the active TIF, and the fatality rate. So from here we are going to choose the date, the confirmed, the death, and the fatality rate. And I think let me see here quickly. Yeah, we are using 4 things: the death, the fatality rate, active, and confirmed. So from all this data, we are choosing only 4 things to show to our user. Then if you go to the regions, here, if we have the required everything, I think we need the provinces. Let me check quickly. No, let's get the regions. And the regions, yeah, this is what we need, the regions, not the provinces. The regions basically returns, again, it's a JSON 3 with the data. And inside we have an array of, let's say, countries. And it brings us the ISO of the country and the name. So each country is represented by the name and ISO of each country. What we need, this is what we are showing here, all the countries. So by selecting one, we can use the ISO in order to get the report, which is the next step that I want to show you. So each report, if you scroll a little bit down, it has, apart from required parameters, it has some optional parameters as well. So again, the date is optional. I'm going to delete it, so we will get the data of today. And then we have a question here. This is optional. I'm going to get rid of that as well. We don't need that. Region US. This you can search with the country name or the ISO. I'm going to use ISO for our case because I think it's pretty unique. Just in case if you have typo or etc., it's better to stick with the ISO. And the city name we are not interested in. If you check the API documentations of the specific API, it will state that the city is currently available only for US cities. So that's why we are not going to even try now. Right now, I just want to use one country here. It's going to be the US, as it has the default here. So let's test the endpoint. And as you can see, it returns again data JSON, and inside of it we have many things. So each one of these opening is a state. So we have the data of that state, and then there is another JSON inside that data. And if I click, you will see the information about that region. And currently we are looking into name country, the US, and province is Washington. And then it provides also the cities, but again, as I said, the cities is working only for US, so we are not going to go deeper down this. We're going to up to the region where we want to get the province names or state names, right? So, but let's say if I was to choose, let's go to the region, check the endpoint, and let's just randomly choose, I don't know, MTQ instead of US. And let's search for this, and you will see, all right, this doesn't have anything here. Let's choose another one. Let's go to the result, test endpoint. China has many provinces, that's why I'm not choosing that one. Let's go here. Okay, we're inside the China here. To regions and get the endpoint. PGR, which is Bulgaria. So let's choose this one. And ISO is PGR. So testing the result, you can see we have only one item in our array. And this is the data of the whole country. So there is no divided into different areas. So you will see what data we are getting. It has a region, but it's called the whole country name and not separate regions. So we still need data to decode this part here so we know which country we are talking about. Because in the main area, it doesn't say anything about the country, it's just the statistics. So I'm showing you this so you have an understanding how the JSON we are getting back looks like. So it's the data, then you open it up, we have the information about statistics and then the region. So we need to decode this in order to show it to our user. And again, everything from here we're not going to use. We're not going to use about the country is the ISO, the name of the country and the province, and the statistics of the country here. So how to use this? If you go to the first part here, code snippet, what you will see that whenever we are adding or removing things from our optional parameters here, it actually builds a URL for us. So if I was going to, I don't know, call this USA, for example, you will see that the parameter changes here, region USA, ISO, BGR, which is of course incorrect, but just want to show you that the parameters here automatically change the way we search. So another cool thing about the Rapid API is that you can choose a language here, and we are interested in Swift, and it will give you a sample code how to make a URL request in order to get the information. And the best thing about this is that once you use it, it already preloads the name of the key of the API and the host name. This key is going to be unique for your user, so I suggest don't use this one, even though the API is for free. But I guess if everybody uses the same key and the owner will see too many requests coming from the same API key, they may block it or even turn it to be paid. So I suggest you register yourself and just use your API key. But for us, what we need to do is, this is the best place to get started. We can copy all this text. This is basically how to make a request with all the parameters already there. So actually, let's start from the total and do let's go to the code snippet, and this is Swift, yes. And I'm going to copy everything for the total. Yeah, another thing, we need an Xcode project. So let's start with our Xcode, open it, create a new application, click next. I'm going to call this COVID stats, and yeah, click next. I'm going to save it on my desktop, click create, and you will be presented with a empty application. Just going to click on resume just to see if everything is working. Let me change this to iPhone 13 Pro Max and change the size to make it smaller so it can fit in my view. Resume, and everything is working. So this is our boilerplate code here, provided by Xcode, simple application that says hello world. Now, I'm not going to do any user interface things at the beginning. So what we want to start with is getting access to our API and getting data from the API. Once we are done, we can use the data to create our user interface and populate it with the data. So command then to create a new Swift file, and I'm going to call this API service. This will be a singleton class that is going to work with our API. So all the communication with the API is going to happen with this class. It's going to fetch three data for us. It's going to be the total, then it's going to be the regions and the reports.